successful, and because right after that, Angeline was very charged up about the concept. Before we met, she wasn't at all. In fact, she had some rather bad opinions of what she thought was going to be brought. So I think if we met with Lisbon, it was, and if we can get into Oxbow.
I think Littleton should be on that list too, because my cousin's kids go there, and I know that they are doing distance learning with other high schools already. And Joanne Melanson knows our high school. She taught here forever. So, I mean, their principal already knows about Lisbon High School and knows their teachers, and so I'd like to include Littleton in that list as well.
So Oxbow, Littleton, Lisbon?
It's a place to start.
And we're still looking to contact BMU.
Yeah, I see.
I've written that down.
If it's distance learning, Rivendell might still be an option, because they were talking, I don't know if you guys read the Valley News article, but they're capped on their spending, and they're gonna have to make substantial cuts potentially this year to programs that they don't wanna cut, and in order to stay within the cap, and they may have a need.
I mean, I think distance learning is the way to go, and I know it can be successful, because I saw it successful many years ago at Woodsville High School. I just think, we don't want to limit ourselves to busing. That is
Right.
too much educational time that the kids aren't getting if they're on a bus.
Dick, can I ask a question? And Nicole, I'm wondering if you can kind of answer this a little bit from the higher education standpoint. As we talk about, and I agree, distance learning and from a virtual standpoint, I don't know why we would even need to limit it to this particular area. We could go out of state even, from that perspective. But my question to you would be, you see, and many colleges go this way, either strictly online, blended, or in classroom. Is the reason we're discussing virtual classrooms closer because of the thought of having some kind of blended aspect where they would have some on-site classes? Or in the sense?
I mean, Waymount Community College offers classes two different ways. There's eStart, which is entirely online, and there's Running Start, and I don't know if there's a Running Start teacher in this. Okay. And maybe you could speak more to this, but essentially, Rosie, are you any? Okay. So, Rosie can teach a class that's both at the high school level, but the student is also getting credit at the college level. That's huge. So that means that the student, without paying necessarily the high costs of higher ed, is getting that credit met. That is a huge benefit.
But I think that you're right, that there's a lot of things you could do entirely virtual, but it is an advantage if you have a local partner, if you can have some of the, say, 1 week, the teachers in Oxbow, and the next week they're at Woodsville, and you can just solidify that bond and have some, there's some out of classroom relational things that happen with teachers which are beneficial to the students, and so.
We talked about that, and the Lisbon and Littleton SUPs were interested in that, thought that was a good idea, so.
And labs.
Yeah.
But you could have a mixture of different options for different classes, different teachers, different.
But what you're saying is true. You could have a hybrid class. You could have a class that's meeting online, and maybe they're meeting together 6 times. I mean, there's a lot of different options here. It's just getting the ball rolling and having that conversation. But having a topic that you want to talk about instead of just saying, let's partner, which is a very large concept.
A little too broad around.
For sure.
Well, I think we gotta, going through with the Blue Mountain process, there's, a word that sticks in my mind from my past job is rapport, rapport, rapport. We've got to be building good rapport with these entities in order to work on talks to move forward with that. There was some apprehension with BMU when it was like, well, we'd love you to come down to Woodsville High School, but why don't you want to come to us? I mean, the better the rapport you have, the easier it is to have those difficult conversations. And so I really, I think that's where part of the reaching out a little ahead of time is reaching out and building rapport with these other boards and building, the trust and friendship and working on common goals. And, you know, I still see the common goal that all of our districts are faced with right now, is we all want to continue to improve education for our kids and the opportunities, but at the same time, we want to reduce the costs and the burden on our taxpayers, because as the state continues to push costs down to us and benefits and employee costs continue to rise, it's becoming overwhelming for taxpayers in all the communities, not just Haverhill.
I think the other course that needs to be on that list is high schools that we're talking to don't offer Latin.
Mm-hmm. Well, faculty who teaches Latin, does she have the credential to do Ren Start?
I don't know, but she has taught online, she has taught distance learning before successfully. And she's here if you could
I
ask
can
her.
answer the question.
Oh, sorry.
Could you repeat the question,
Are you,
please, Nicole?
do you have the credentials for Running Start, which is a master's degree, but then you have to go, okay? Easy enough, thanks very much.
But
I didn't know what the
it's a
credentials
good
were.
point too, though, is that our staff, I mean, as we're recognizing, we can all recognize the need that we need to do something here. Quite possibly, our staff is there every day working with us, and they may have ideas that they're maybe not comfortable bringing out in public like this, but and not just ideas on how we can work together with other, virtually or with other communities, but also in ways that we could possibly be more efficient within our system. And I almost would like to see a kind of unanimous suggestion box that anyone in the staff could drop a note in, or even anonymous. Yeah, I say unanimous. Anonymous, sorry.
Maybe it'll be you.
It may be, but I'd like to, I was just thinking of a way that they could do that, and it'd be nice to have something like that where they can, and I thought, well, potentially maybe they can mail the chairman a letter, without their name and address on it if they don't want to, but if they want to submit their name, it's up to them. But it'd just be nice to have suggestions that could get the ball rolling, because you guys are there every day, you're in the mix, and you may have ideas that you haven't spoken to anyone of that really could be helpful, and I'd love to hear them. I mean, we need ideas from everyone, how we can,
Actually, Mr. Valancourt, can you give me some ideas of how we talked a little bit about this a few months ago, about trying to do more and expand there, but do you have any ideas how we can get our foot in the door with other schools? And you're already doing some of this stuff at Woodsville and have in the past.
As far as sharing with others?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we're talking about, is trying to do more with other schools to try to share resources, trying to be more efficient with, and offerings that they don't have, and they might be able to do the same for us, and saving money. There's a lot of goals.
I do know that Littleton wants Latin, so thank you, Michelle, for mentioning it.
I do too, because I've spoken to Joanne.
Oh, okay, good. And we actually, at the high school, did purposefully schedule our Latin 1 at the end of the day, so that Latin could come through, because we looked at, and Littleton could come through and join us via distance learning, but we never heard from them again. So we're already set up, we've looked at their schedule, and we set ours up so that it would work with them. And Mr. Jones and I have been talking about within the district, because we know that you want to spread the languages through all the schools, and we have found a way that we think will work to offer languages and exposure to languages from grades 2 through 12. So, but you'd have to talk to Mr. Jones, because he's my boss, and he's the one who has all the information. We haven't looked at all of the scenarios. For instance, early release days may totally not work, but because we haven't gone that far, but we know that for a regular day schedule, we can actually, we're pretty sure that we could offer. So when you were talking about internally within the district, we want to let you know that there is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's great. And I think John's concept, or the way I took his idea, is that I think we need a little, maybe guidance from you teachers about how this could be put together better. I mean, you're in the trenches, so to speak, and you understand and have already made some arrangements, and how can we how can we partner with you folks to figure this out? I mean, what do you say?
I defer to my principal.
Okay.
I guess we just need to sit down and have the discussion.
Okay, so who do you want there? What do you want us to do? How can we do it?
Well, I think the administrators should be there along with Coach Dawn.